Man, you want to see man, mate?
Good
It's all
evening,
over the place.
everyone. Welcome along to the Gooner Elite. This is Mike Heineman here, the Arsenal fan. We've got JB here, Burnley fan as well. We're going to preview the game between the two sides, of course, on Saturday afternoon. But first of all, JB, how's things? And, the start of the season for Burnley, it's not been the greatest. The same as with Arsenal, actually, as well, hasn't it?
Where do you want to start, Mike? Good evening, everyone. I'll be honest with you, Mike. It's not the start I would have liked, considering the first four fixtures. At least two of them were winnable, and I'm talking mainly the Brighton game and the Leeds match, which we took points away. I mean, if we'd have got three against Brighton, it might have been a different tale. But it just hasn't worked out the way it should have done. It's been the same pattern. Liverpool aside, we've got into Leeds, and then we've just contrived one way or another through poor tactics, or through this, or through that, or opposition actually tweaking things when they're 1-0 down, and they come back and win, and we just don't react. And there's got to be something completely wrong. I was actually jokingly blaming Andros Townsend's mum the other night because she sent Andros Townsend what was it? A DVD of all his goals just before our match. Yeah, so I blame her a bit actually. No, I'm not kidding. No, but seriously, I think Dyche really now is under a lot of pressure. He's just actually signed a 4-year contract with the Clarets, which came as a bit of a shock. I'll be honest. I thought he might have been a bit safer and signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been back to the transfer window by Alan Pace. We have brought some decent players in, but we need them in the squad because the players that we've got at the moment aren't cutting the mustard. And I'm talking about people like Jack Cork, Ashley Barnes, people like that. Ashley Barnes especially, he's... I know a lot of people have gone on his back over the last few years. I know a lot of you Arsenal fans.
Ashley Barnes has always been a fan favourite at Burnley, hasn't he?
He has, but the last couple of years, he's had a bit of an injury layoff. The problem with Barnes is he's a bit like, certainly in recent weeks, he's been a bit more of a bull in the china shop rather than actually getting in there and scoring goals. He should have arguably been sent off 2 weeks ago in the Leeds game because the tackle he did on Dallas was unbelievably poor. It was, idiously late and could have injured the guy. So, Barnes has just not cut the mustard. And we're more on the side of Matty Vidra. We because I thought Sean Dyche, when he brought them two together, he had a very good partnership for large periods of last season. When Vidra and Wood struck up a good partnership, I thought it were very good. But he's using Barnes at the moment, who I just think is a spent force. The only thing I would question as well, Mike, is the signing of Aaron Lennon. Now, he was a terrific player, of course, as you well know, for Leeds and for Tottenham. More so for Tottenham, of course.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting, actually, that you've gone back and signed him because he come out and he had quite a lot of issues with depression, didn't he, as well, for a while?
He did,
and then he's come back and got back into the game. And, that it's obviously good for him to be back, and to be doing something that he loves, which, when you know about that kind of thing and you hear the kind of stories regarding, the depression and anxiety, I know that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
For somebody like Aaron Lennon to be playing, at a club like Burnley and in the Premier League in particular is still a great thing. Yeah.
Oh, it is. My only question mark about Lennon though is the Lennon the player, and not Lennon the personal, Lennon the man rather.
Yeah.
I'm talking about his football ability. I think his best days are behind him now. With all due respect, I think, If Dyche's response to going 3-1 down on Monday was to bring him on, I think it was the wrong move. I mean, you've got a great player in Maxwell Cornet who rips Manchester City last year in Europe.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago in Europe. Highly rated player. Okay, people will argue he's only been with us 48 hours, but give him 20 minutes. You never know what he might do. But one thing that irritates me about Sean Dyche is at the moment is the press conference. After every game, it's he talks about a framework. He talks about fine margins. And it's like, it's all well, and then he talks, well, we had a superb 60 minutes, but then I'm thinking, hold on a second.
Yeah, football's not 1 over 60, it's 1 over 90 or plus however minutes.
Absolutely.
At the
You've
end.
hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah.
We do get a lot of, Burnley get a lot of bad press down, especially down south, from the Fleet Street media people, because we're not a fashionable club, as you well know, because we could, if you've ever been to Burnley, it's, for the unlearned eye, people think it's a small town with Coronation Street terraces. And but to most people it is, but to me, it's my home.
100%, yeah.
I'm proud to come from those parts, and for this, obviously you don't slag Burnley off, which is great. But most of the southern journalists who come up there, they don't look at Northern England like that. They don't think a town like Burnley should belong in the top flight of English football. But we've earned the right for 6 years.
I see it from two perspectives, though. I see it from the perspective of somebody that follows a Premier League club, but also from somebody that follows a club sort of the lower ends as well.
Yeah,
who they've worked their way up. They were on the verge of getting to the Championship one season, and then Sheffield United, who were the side that knocked Stevenage out of those League One playoffs. They had a couple of really successful seasons in the Premier League. So it's something that clubs like Stevenage and Sheffield United, the likes of Burnley, Bournemouth have obviously done it. Barnsley have done it. There's been so many clubs over the years that have either wanted to do it or have managed to actually be successful in it.
Yeah, but the problem is the perception of opposition supporters to us that we're like a rugby side. Now, I don't subscribe to that fact because we are a bit of a physical side, but we're not as physical as the Wimbledon side of the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, when they used to kick people, you know what I mean? But I think when we've got players like Ashley Barnes, who does play on the edge a bit, that's what gives us the bad image. But, if people actually saw us actually play or go to a match, that, for large periods against Brighton on opening day, we lost the match and we lost it by our own stupidity. But for 50, 60 minutes of that game, we play some cracking football along the deck. And we don't get, and unfortunately, the media don't give us the credit for that actually they deserve, because we can play football across the deck. I remember winning at Everton one year, and we've made Jeff Enright scored a goal, and we've done about 34 passes, and about 3/4 of those passes were along the deck.
If that was Arsenal, and Arsenal have done that, and Arsenal have done that in the years gone by as well, they'd be raving about that for probably 5 seasons.
Absolutely, but that's just the way football is, Mike. But I think I don't know how you feel about it, but I think Saturday's going to be a tough old game because, I'm very surprised with Arsenal. I want to touch on Arsenal a bit because
of course, man.
Yeah, because I actually had them as top 6 material. You look at them on paper. I know you guys have got issues with Arteta. He's not the right man for the job, so to speak, and I think you have a point. Yeah. But I think you look at that squad and what it could achieve. And what potentially it can achieve, I just think I was broadcasting with you when you lost at Brentford on the opening night.
Oh, and, you could tell the frustration, not the frustrations as such, but I don't know. For want of a better word, frustrations is probably the best word I could use, because it was to the next level, even above that, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, and I think you Arsenal fans. I watch a lot of AFTV and. They get accused of being toxic, but so especially from Simon Jordan on a certain sports radio station. But they've got a point. Some of them, like DT and Troops and people like that, Robbie Lyle. They are passionate Arsenal supporters, just like you are. And it's, I'm sad to see Arsenal where they are now, because when Arsenal were playing all that wonderful football under Wenger, when they were winning league titles by not losing a match. I think everybody in the country appreciated how good an Arsenal team that really was. The Henrys, your Bergkamps, and people like that. Yeah. And the way they played good football, they changed the way that football could be played. They were like the masters, if you know what I mean.
And that's why we are so, not against the club as such at the moment, but we're against the direction that the club are going, because we know what's happened in the past, and we see a side that before would have had Patrick Vieira, would have had a back five, that the English back five that were all fantastic in their own right. Seaman, Dixon, Winterburn, Adams, and Keown or Steve Bold potentially coming in for him. And you look at what you've got now, and then instead of Vieira, you've got like a Granit Xhaka, and instead of the likes of David Seaman, you've got Bernd Leno, who is prone to making a mistake with his feet. You've got
but you've got Aaron Ramsdale now, haven't you?
Yeah. And I hope that Ramsdale, the fact he played last game, I hope that he plays against Burnley as well. And maybe Bernd Leno can be his number 2 now rather than vice versa, because I really liked Aaron Ramsdale. He's got a lot of love for Arsenal. His granddad was a massive Arsenal fan, so he's doing this for his granddad, because his granddad passed away. So he's doing this, and he's doing it with a massive smile on his face every single game that he's played in, and he just loves it. If you watch the game against Norwich last week, he didn't stop smiling throughout, and he started showboating, showing off, everything, because he was just so happy to be there. He was delighted to be at such a good club. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, you've recruited actually very. You've spent a lot of money this summer. I think. How much have you spent now? I think your net spend was about 160 million.
I think in total it's 135, 140
135 million. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you happy with the signing?
Something like that. Yeah.
Ramsdale aside, are you happy really with the balance of the side, with the players that you've got, or do you think Arteta's bought the wrong players, or?
I'm not sure. I think the right back, Tomiyasu, I know he only played 60 minutes last week, but I really like him. I think he's very, very good. I think Lokonga is very, very good and got loads of potential. Although probably being our second top centre mid, probably behind Thomas Partey already in this squad anyway. Yeah. He's got loads more potential to kick on from that. I think there's potential in Ben White, but I think we overpaid. But I see potential there with him and Gabriel from last week. I quite,
he can't be bad then, right? If he makes the England squad for the European Championships. No, I know he didn't get much in the squad when he was there, but just to be included in there must have been a great coup, considering that he was up against the likes of people like Mings and Tarkowski and people like that. I was bitterly disappointed he came in there in place of James Tarkowski, who's Southgate, or Ben Mee for that matter, because they're two centre-backs who on their day are well beaters. But Southgate, for some reason, seems to overlook Pope for the recent games as well, even though he was in the squad. But I do think with that squad, Mike, that Arsenal squad, that I think you should be doing a lot better than what you've done. And I don't think you disagree with that. You have to be at least top 7. At least.
With that. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I think going back to the signings as well, we've signed obviously Ramsdale. You mentioned, I've mentioned
Odegaard. You've just got as well. Odegaard, you've just got.
Yeah, Odegaard. I'm pleased with Odegaard. I think I was quite impressed with him in the majority of games that I saw last season, and I think that he is a really good competition for Smith Rowe. And then if you don't want to start Smith Rowe, you can bring him off the bench. And you saw against Norwich, he had a massive impact in that game coming off the bench. And,
he did.
Even some of the games we were very well beaten, he was one of the players that was actually giving everything when some of the others were shying away. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think you've had Brentford and Norwich aside, you did have some difficult fixtures. Chelsea's no gimme, obviously. No, and all that type of thing. So,
but it's how we lose those games. The Man City game in particular.
Man City, you just fell apart, didn't you?
Yeah, that's it. It's the way that we lost that game. We had a good 5 minutes at the start, and then after that, when they scored the first goal, it was like, how many, or when's the next one? So I think by the time we got to 3-0, or might have been 4-0, I switched off. I know I missed the last goal anyhow, because you probably
didn't miss that much, really, to be quite honest with you.
That's it. I don't ever do that, but
yeah,
I literally was that frustrated at sitting there watching that, and then yes, I expected to lose. Every Arsenal fan probably did, but not in that margin.
No, not in that manner, and it didn't help.
Yeah.
I think Granit Xhaka is a big problem as well on your side, because when it comes to the big games and it comes to a tough match, I mean, he's good if he plays against Burnley. I'm not sure if he's suspended for that.
No, he's suspended. Yeah, he's still out. Yeah.
Oh well, you're probably better off without him, because if he played against Burnley, I think he will probably lose his head, and I think that's the problem with Arsenal. Really, they're disciplined. Certain players, Xhaka obviously is the big one. He's had history against Burnley before as well.
Yeah, of course.
Let's not forget.
But so is Nicola Pepe, remember, as well, and he's going to probably be playing. So
yeah, and there's a lot of people going on about Nicola Pepe as well. Is he consistent enough? Is he inconsistent? That's what I get from watching things like AFTV and things like that, because obviously AFTV don't speak for the whole Arsenal fan base, as every Arsenal fan has his say on it all, and there might be different opinions.
Yeah.
But a lot of people on AFTV have been saying that, is Pepe the real deal? £72 million. I know he's been there 3 years now. Have you got value for money for him? I know he's had a lot of injury problems, but have you really got value for money for him? And has he contributed enough in that time?
When you spend, over 72 million, and he has, to be honest, you can argue last season he had a good season. He was, I think he was joint top goal scorer. I think with Aubameyang and Lacazette, I think they all got 10, something like
10
that.
goals. Yeah.
And I think Pepe had the most assists as well, or something like that. So last season he had a good season, but any time that he's been playing in front of fans, he hasn't been very good. So you don't even know if last season the fact that there weren't any fans there, maybe that worked in his favour. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it just seems a bit odd to me. But I mean, I'm also dubious at the fact that Aubameyang and Lacazette haven't really hit. You were probably expecting when you get a strike force like Lacazette and Aubameyang, you think, whoa, harvest time, 20 goals each a season, and they've only weighed in 20 between them last season. Really, for an Arsenal strike force, you would think, I mean, I don't want to be too critical, but that's not really good enough for them two as strikers. I don't know what's going on mentally, and there could be a lot, there could be 101 things going on at the moment, but when you look at the numbers and they're only getting 10 goals a season compared to getting 20, maybe 25 where they were before.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That is a downturn in numbers in terms of goal scoring ratio, isn't it?
100%. But then when you look at Aubameyang last season, you have to look at the fact he had malaria, he had a couple of other issues.
That's true.
Obviously, he had COVID at the start of this season. He had other issues last season. I think he lost one of his family members, or something happened. I don't remember exactly, but there was a couple of things happened last year. Lacazette, I don't even think has really played this season from the start yet. He obviously had COVID right at the start of the season as well. So
yeah, they both missed Brentford, didn't they?
Yeah. So it's an interesting one to see. I think because Lacazette was on the bench the other day against Norwich, but didn't come on. But then if you look at Aubameyang, Aubameyang scored and that goal against Norwich, and you could see the kind of sheer relief on his face more than anything else.
Absolutely. There was a lot of relief there in the celebration, wasn't there?
Yeah. And, fair enough, he's already scored. I think he scored a hat-trick against West Brom. But it wasn't West Brom. It was West Brom kids, to be fair, at the end of the day in that League Cup.
Yeah, it was a pointless cup game, wasn't it? Really? Yeah. I mean, it's not pointless. Not pointless because you got to step nearer from Wembley. And I think I actually thought you'd do well this season. You'd had no Europa League football to worry about. Yeah. I mean, it must be a travesty not being in Europe because obviously as Arsenal fans for the last sort of 30 years, you've been either in the Champions League or UEFA Cup or Europa League, as they call it now. But I actually thought when I made the prediction on TCO at the start, I actually thought if you can get higher I thought you could get higher in the league not having any European football. And you can still do it. And by all means, I think you've got a good. I mean, the squad is good enough on paper. I just don't think the manager knows what I think he's doing. I mean, no disrespect to Mikel Arteta, but I'm not sure he's management material. I don't think he is either.
Like, he's a nice guy, but nice guys, nice guys finish last, isn't it?
They don't win.
You get nothing for being a nice guy. You have to be a little bit ruthless at times. You have to upset the apple cart, and upset certain players at times for the good of.
I think you missed the boat when you didn't get Allegri. I think if you'd have got somebody like Allegri, then I think you might have been still. I think you'd been playing Champions League football by now. That's just my observation. I mean, I went on. I mean, going back to Burnley. I mean, I was obviously asphyxiated with rage, and I did Russ Vernon's thrown in on Monday
because I did. Yeah, I heard it back as well, and I could tell. When you come on, it was straight away. I didn't even need to know that you'd lost because. You could tell anyway.
Seriously, Mike. I was desperately trying not to swear because I was so apoplectic with rage because I couldn't believe. The problem with Sean Dyche is I'm not sure signing a 4-year contract. I'm just fearing that this could be a case of the Arsene Wenger syndrome because obviously Wenger was there at Arsenal for a long time. He was there for nearly 20 years, and maybe for the last 3 or 4 years, probably outstayed his welcome. Now I'm starting to get the same feelings with Sean Dyche because every single game, even whatever the score, he'll come out and say exactly the same things. He's like a broken record, and it's like, he doesn't like diving. Okay, we don't like diving. Yeah, fine. You don't have to say it 100 times a season. It's like he goes on about fine margins and framework, and you've got to be Dyche fit. I mean, Dyche fit. This is what frustrates me. You've got a cracking player like Cornet, and you don't use him. I know he's been with the squad at the time of the game. He was only with the squad for 48 hours. But I thought, if you'd have given him about half an hour. You never know. And I think Dwight McNeil, I think he's much better in a central, sort of a number 10 role.
Did he play central, Dwight McNeil, against Arsenal last season?
I think he did. But he played a bit against Leeds. He did a lot of good work when he went central against Leeds. He had a couple of good efforts. He had a couple of sizes of goal, which on another day would have sailed straight into the back of the net. So the guy, I think he is wasted a little bit, McNeil, on the left-hand side. And Cornet, is a player with vast European and Champions League experience. Now, to get a player like him is a huge coup. And we've only had to spend about 15 million. In fact, our net spend this year was about just shy of 30 million, which is a heck of an improvement on last year's. Because we only bought Dale Stevens for £1 million. Alan, but I've got to be honest, Alan Pace has been as good as his word this summer. There were times when I thought he wasn't going to be. But the only problem, so he's giving Dyche money to spend. The trouble is, Dyche has spent it on Nathan Collins. Now, he's going to probably be a great defender in the future, the guy from Ireland, the guy we got from Stoke, Irish International.
From Stoke.
I think.
Was it Stoke? Yeah.
Stoke City, yes. Another signing from Stoke. Last one was Peter Crouch, and we all know what happened there. I think he's a good defender. He's only played one match against Newcastle in the Cup, and he was good with Burnley, actually, that night. He signed Wayne Hennessy, who's actually a better backup goalkeeper than the one we've just loaned out to Sheffield Wednesday, who's actually having a good season up at Hillsborough at the moment. Billy Peacock Farrell. But Wayne Hennessy distinguished himself against Newcastle in the Cup title the other week. Distinguished himself brilliantly. I think he's a good backup goalkeeper. Lots of Premier League experience with Wolves and with Crystal Palace. Cornet, we know
that was a weird one. When obviously, he's quite. He's getting older now, obviously, and I thought it was a bit strange to obviously sign Wayne Hennessy for Burnley, but then there was no fee attached. Was it a free?
Yeah, it was a free transfer. He left Crystal Palace. He was one of the players let go by Patrick Vieira.
One of many.
Yeah, and But I think he's a good little. I thought that was a clever signing. We've signed Connor Roberts from Swansea, who I think is one of the best I think last season one of the best right backs in the Championship. Well,
I liked him. Obviously, Stevenage played Swansea in the FA Cup, and he played in that as well, and he did look good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he mustn't have been too bad if Swansea made the playoffs last year. Obviously, Cornet we know about. We had a chance to sign Ryan Christie from Celtic, but then for some reason, I don't blame Alan Pace for this or Sean Dyche for this, because I think they gave him a good package. I think they gave him a better financial package. They could have offered him Premier League football. The problem was Christie wanted to play for Bournemouth to be near his mates who'd gone down south to Celtic, namely Edouard, who'd gone down to Crystal Palace and people like that. And he's playing for Bournemouth. Now, I still think he's unambitious. I think he would have done good for us, would have given us an extra option. And I think we should have signed some. And I also think we missed the boat a little bit. And I think Dyche should have signed a striker. I'd have been quite happy to have brought Andre Gray back. Well, for two reasons. One, he'd have got game time. Two, he's got pace. Three, he knows the club. Now, people might say, oh, well, that's a backward signing. But he got 10 goals with us when we were in the Premier League. Admittedly, some of them were penalties. But even so, I think, I think he's on his day, he's a top goal scorer. And QPR must have done something right to sign him, because they're reaping the benefits in the Championship this season. He's been scoring goals left, right, and centre at Loftus Road. So I think we missed the boat.
Were you linked with Eddie as well on Eddie and Nketiah? You were, weren't you?
I can't remember. I know we were linked with Maitland-Niles, but that never
I think you were linked with Eddie as well because I know you said you were looking for a forward. I'm sure there was something between Burnley and Palace. Yeah.
I mean, Nketiah would have been a good signing for us, funnily enough, because I think he's a very underrated player for you guys. I think if you give him the chance, if he's given the chance in Nketiah, he can score goals. It's a better transfer window, but there's a couple of positions where I think we could have strengthened better. I think the striking department is the one that worries me the most, because apart from Chris Wood and maybe to a certain extent Vidra, when he gets the chance. When Dyche does give him a chance, they can score goals. The worry is the other two. Jay Rodriguez. Now, I don't like saying bad things about Jay Rod because he's one of our own. He's born in Burnley. His family are from Burnley, and he's a Burnley lad through and through. And he does give 100% for the club. But he hasn't scored enough goals for me when given the chance. And he had a couple of chances at the start of the season, but he just wasn't in the game. And Ashley Barnes, as I alluded to off air, now, Ashley Barnes, a couple of years ago, was banging them in, right? In the year we got into Europe, I think he scored about 12, 13 goals, which was...
It was a big factor. I'm sure him and Chris Woods actually, they were both massive factors in you getting into Europe, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But I think it was a bit of a lucky season, really, because there was other teams that were struggling and, teams were going through transitional periods, and I think there was an element of luck involved in that. But we played some decent stuff that year. But he was doing well. But then, obviously, he's had an injury. But he's also... What worries me about Ashley Barnes is he's a guy, as you well know, that can cause mayhem in the wrong 100%. Sort of way. I mean, I think he was involved in a fracas at the Emirates a couple of years ago in a game. I think it was a bad challenge that he should have. I think you said he should have arguably been sent off. Looking back at it now, I think he should have been. He should have been sent off 2 weeks ago in the game against Leeds, because that challenge on Dallas. The only reason, this is why I think we need to amend the offside law in this country, or in the game at the moment, because I think the offside law that we've got now, I think, is ridiculous. Because if you play on and an incident like that occurs, then you're going to look right stupid, because Wood was actually offside. If a player is beyond the last defender as the ball's played, stick the flag up, blow the whistle, give the free kick, get on with the game. There was nothing wrong with the law before, and the only reason they've changed the laws is for VAR, and I think that's wrong. But going back to Ashley Barnes, I just don't know. I think he's a spent force. He's not getting any younger. He's 31, 32. And I just think he's playing on the edge. I mean, against Everton, people were saying he was being disruptive, but I didn't see him getting into goal-scoring positions. I think he's more interested in trying to wind up the opposition than he is actually trying to get into goal scoring positions, what his job is supposed to be, and bang the goals in. And I don't think he does enough of that. So that's a huge worry. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a club legend. He's been with us since 2014, when he signed halfway through when we won promotion the second time round, when we didn't expect to win it. And and he's done well for us. Don't get me wrong, but I think there comes a time now where I think Barnes has to go. I mean, we got rid of Bings, we got rid of Vokes, we sold Gray reluctantly, but there's going to come a time now where all good things come to an end, and I think Ashley Barnes is one of those people. Jack Cork, I don't think he's good enough anymore. I think his best days are beyond him now. But I still think we carry a threat, Burnley. I mean, a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying to him at the moment. I'm just reading a comment about Andre.
That's right. I'll mention that in a moment. Carry on your point, and then we'll go back to that. Yeah.
But in a lot of respects, I still think we carry a threat in certain areas. I mean, set places. I think Ashley Westwood delivers some terrific corners from the far side. I mean, when I watch a Burnley game, we get a corner on the left. Like for example, if we're attacking the cricket field end in a home match, and we get a corner at the left-hand side, the far side, we know you can bet your bottom dollar that Westwood is going to swing it right on the goal line where the goalkeepers don't like it. And that's where the majority of our goals, I think, in the last 2 or 3 seasons have come from. On some days, he'll just bend it straight in the back of the net like he did against Liverpool.
Yeah, but I don't know. Did he mean that or not? I suppose he probably didn't.
And he wouldn't have mean. I wouldn't. It's not like Ronaldinho a few years ago when he did it. No. When he meant it, he said he meant it. I don't think he did, but there you go.
Was that the World Cup goal against David Seaman?
It was many years ago. I was about 19, about 18 or 19 at the time, I think, when that happened. Look at me now. I'm 38. Going on 40.
Oh, yes. I know. I would have been in school or whatever as well. But Russ has just put a point here in regards to Andre Gray. He said that his partner and kids are happy down south, which is apparently why he didn't want to go up north. Yeah. Because apparently Leeds wanted to sign him. Which is fair enough. And he also put in here Will Barry's prediction of Burnley being relegated come true. I actually said that Burnley would be in bottom 3 as well. And Russ said, that he thinks it could well be.
I think that's fair comment. You look at the start with, mate, and I don't think you can argue with that at the moment. But we were in a worse position 12 months ago, and what happened then? But so I'm trying to put a positive spin on it. But if we get through, if we'd have beaten Everton, I'd have been more optimistic going into the match on Saturday. The other issue I've got with Burnley at the moment is the home form. Since we beat Villa in January. I think it was late January, in a 3-2 topsy-turvy game. It was one of the best games of the season, I thought, in terms of entertainment. Since then, we've played, I think, about 13 times, and we've not won a game. That's at Turf Moor. I mean, a lot of people will point to the fans not being there.
Arsenal. Arsenal, Arsenal are a club that love to give back and to give charity to clubs that haven't won for a while, etc. though as well, and to break records. So I'm sure that's something that will probably counteract that.
Well, we'll have to make and see. I still think Arsenal are a very tricky team. Let's not forget that. I mean, I'm not under any illusions that this will be a tricky assignment. Arsenal. Yeah,
it's going to be a close game. It's going to be next to nothing in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when we played each other, I think it was March or something, late February, early March, and Eric Peters got death threats, I think, or something over, and I thought that was disgraceful. And they weren't actual Arsenal fans. They weren't proper Arsenal fans.
No, not at all.
Peters did what he did.
Was that the game when Pepe was sent off?
I'm not sure, but I know for a fact that it was a hand. I think the controversial moment was when Arsenal thought they had a penalty, but Peters handled it, which he didn't. His arms were down by his side.
That's it. I remember the incident.
And obviously there was a bit of a mix-up on Wood's equalising goal between Leno and another Arsenal player.
Leno and Might have even been. Was it Granit Xhaka? It might have been.
Could have been Xhaka. I'm not sure, but I'd have to look back. Yeah. But I'm not under any illusions how tough a game. I mean, we've drawn the last two at Turf between us, before lockdown, a year or two back, we drew 0-0. It could have gone either way, that one. You beat us 3-1 the year before that, but at the end of the game, it was a dead rubber anyway. But you won it fair and square. But it was a good game between two, it was a good match that, even despite losing the game. And obviously the two controversial ones when we first came back up, I think they were controversial ones because you score with a handball, if I remember rightly. It was the hand of Koscielny, I called it.
It was right at the end. It was 90 plus however many minutes additional time at the end, wasn't it? Yeah,
you referee purposely. I think the referee purposely played about 20 seconds over. We should have blown up. Should have blown up at full time. Really, should have blown up on the 2 minutes. But that's history. And then there was the so-called die at the end, and then the penalty was converted. But that's history now. And then we were robbed. I think we were robbed at the Emirates once. I think we played about 8 minutes of stoppage time. Because you went in front. Then we got a penalty 2 minutes into stoppage time. There was about 8 minutes or something.
And I think we got a penalty towards the end of that extra stoppage time as well.
We got a penalty. We got a penalty rightfully given. Gray tucks it in. Although Czech should have said it, to be fair. And then Koscielny absolutely rolls around. Ben Mee's got every right. He penalises Ben Mee for a high foot when he's not even halfway up his body. And then Koscielny's ducked his head in. He's looked for the penalty. Referee's bought it.
That's it. I remember it.
Then Alexis Sanchez chips it down the centre.
Yes.
And oh God, Mike, if you'd have seen my face that moment, I was as sick as a parrot. Not that I knew about a month later that we'd be knocked out of the cup by Lincoln, which was one of the worst days of my life supporting Burnley.
And then they went on and they were knocked out by us in the quarterfinals.
Just as bloody well, wasn't it? Because I wouldn't have heard the end of it if they got to the semis.
Round 5, maybe it might have been. Because it was
the fifth round. 5. Yeah, you got something. Yeah, you played something 2 days afterward. We played them, and I went to that game actually, that Lincoln game. And me and my brother went. We were going there, all bullish on the bus, thinking, "Oh, great! Well, good afternoon. We're in for rubbing our hands with glee. Thinking, great. We've got no lead at home. Win 4-0. Job done. Relax." And it never turned out that way. I actually went. I'll let you into a secret. I actually cried on the bus on the X43 back home. Oh wow! Yeah, because I could not believe we'd lost that match. But there you go. That's just the way football is. But I'll tell you what though, Mike. I don't think I think this is going to be a feisty game. It's going to be difficult. I think Burnley won't make it easy for Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal, as you well know, like to play football the way it should be played along the deck. They still keep to those same principles as Wenger instilled many years ago. But they will not have it easy at Turf Moor, as you well know. So they'll know they'll be in about.
If any club goes to Turf Moor and expects it easy, they've got it. They've got something coming to them that they didn't expect. So,
absolutely.
Man City, whoever you are, Man United, it's Chelsea, whoever, Liverpool. It's the same. Whoever turns up, it's the same as those 5 or 6. And if it's Norwich or Palace or Watford. Yeah,
but I'm still going to be a little bit optimistic. I don't think we can win the game. I just think, I look at Arsenal and I still think they're a quality outfit despite the start they've had and everything else. You can't look at you've got some class players. You probably just your manager and these tactics that I probably found them wanting a bit, obviously in certain occasions. But I would expect you to give us a tough game. And I wouldn't.
There's goals. There's definitely going to be goals. In this game.
There's definitely going to be goals. It's whether we find your defence in very generous mood or not. That's going to be the crucial factor, I think, from an attacking sense. But I wouldn't be too displeased with a scoring draw actually, because I think I'll take a 0-0 and a clean sheet because we haven't get to clean sheet yet actually. Right. I'll take a scrappy 1-0. Anything just to get us going. But. I'm under no illusions that Arsenal will be a massive test for us, and I'm sure you'll say that that you should be famous to take all 3 points, and
it should be. But that's why you got to love football, because we've only won the one game that was against Norwich, which was a close. We only managed to score the one. Potentially there was something wrong with that one. Maybe that was. I'm not too sure. People said it was offside. Maybe.
You didn't look offside. VAR would have checked it otherwise.
Yeah, no, they did check it. Yeah. But then when you look at we haven't really scored too many goals this season either. I think that was the first league goal we scored against Norwich. So it's going to be an interesting one to see, what actually happens, whether it's the same back five as last week, which I really hope it will be, because it was the back five that I loved of Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Tierney, White and Gabriel. And, if that's the back five, then I think it's going to be harder for you going forward than if it's like Bernd Leno, who's in goal, because Bernd Leno, obviously, as you said, kind of, was partially at fault or at fault for one of the goals beforehand.
He was. I think the second one especially. I'll tell you one player that I actually fear, and it's not a Aubameyang or Lacazette, funnily enough. It's It's actually Saka, the guy who, the unfortunate lad who missed the penalty in the Euros. Yeah. And the poor lad got a lot of unfair stick, by the way. I obviously said on commentary that night that his penalty was feeble, but he should never have been put in that position. No. I should also add, but he had a good tournament. He had a good Euros as well. And he's one player that I do fear, because on his day he's probably, if not better, if not as on a par, but better than Lacazette and Aubameyang, because the lad has got a lot of pace, he's got a lot of skill, a lot of power, and he can finish. Don't you have any fears about that? I think he's the one I think I'd fear as a Burnley fan, because Bukayo Saka is a fantastic talent, and I think he's going to get better the more mature he gets and the more experience he gets, because I think having those 7 weeks with England, I think he's come to the party as in terms of a potential world-class footballer there. But, I know he's had a lot of...
I love the whole...
I think he's amazing. I think he's an amazing player.
The Haaland boys, him, Smith Rowe, I love them. The pair of them, they're both fantastic. I like
products of the youth system.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah, the products of the youth system, which can only be good for Arsenal Football Club going forward. And I like
Maitland-Niles, actually. I thought Maitland-Niles, considering he hadn't played very many minutes and was thrown straight into midfield against Norwich, he'd done a really good, had a good game.
Yeah, I'm very surprised you let him go last season at West Bromwich Albion, actually, because I think he could have done the job for you last season. I really do think that, because I look at Maitland-Niles and I think there's a talented player there. If you play him in the right position, the way he wants to play, in the position that he wants to play, then I think on his day, he's a top quality player. I think he could be a world-class player in the making. If you play him in the right position, I think he is a world-class player in the making. I seriously do think that, because, he didn't get to play in that position under Arteta and then Arteta, for some reason, wanted to keep him. But Maitland-Niles, professionally he is. He wants to play football games. Went to West Brom. And he did well in a team that got relegated, and I think he did excellently in a team that got relegated.
He did very well for West Brom, and then he come in for pre-season, had a couple of chances in pre-season, and then was given a chance last week, and I was very impressed with him.
So you've got some good players there. Now, my only worry for you guys this season going forward is, you say Mikel Arteta is a nice guy, and I think he is a nice guy, and I think nice guys obviously don't win. You've got to be a bit bullish. You could have done someone like...
He showed last season that he had that, and then it seems like this season he's kind of just lost that trait. I think because last season Aubameyang turned up late for the North London derby, so he's like, right, you ain't playing.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to finish with Arsenal now. I've said enough about Burnley, of course, but I'm going to finish my stint now. I'm going to finish the program with this thought: Arsenal. As you well know, the North London derby will be in the back of your minds in 2 weeks' time.
Of course.
And that's a big one for you, because Tottenham were going actually quite well, and then they've had a bit of a crash at Palace last week. you really do need to win the next couple of games, really, from an Arsenal viewpoint. I think you do. I mean, obviously, you need to have a good result against us, but we won't make it easy for you, obviously. But there'll be thoughts, though. There'll be a lot of thoughts in a lot of Arsenal fans' minds that the North London derby is the one that Arsenal fans will want to see win more than most, obviously, because obviously Spurs have made a steady start. Yeah.
Go on, mate. No. What I will say, just a moment there as well, is that with the game in midweek next week, AFC Wimbledon League Cup, that's something that we have to try and put a serious squad, like good squad out for. And try and take it seriously, because
I do hope you give Wimbledon a lot of respect, by the way, by putting out a very good squad.
Yeah, I think we will, and I'm going to that game as well, so I hope to see some big names out there and to see a convincing good performance and a couple of goals and a win. So yeah.
Yeah, well, we've got a similar sort of draw actually. Burnley, we've got Rochdale in the third round, and I think we should, on paper, we should thrash them. But in cup football, as we all know, anything can happen. But I would expect Burnley to get through. It's about time I think I'd love us to. I mean, the league is the priority. I mean, the bigger picture for Burnley, the league's the priority, obviously. Premier League, you get the riches, the embarrassment of riches, and staying in the big. But I'd love us to win a trophy. I really would. Even if it was just one League Cup in my lifetime. To go to Wembley, win something, even if it was just one FA Cup or a League Cup or something like that, a piece of silverware being hoisted at Wembley, I'd die an happy man.
That's it. That's what obviously us Arsenal fans have, well, from my generation anyway, we've seen it. And, that's why we feel sorry for some of the younger fans that haven't seen it and hear the stories from their uncles, their dads, their maybe older brothers who are, a little bit older than them, etc., about where the club has been. And then, they all they've got to look back on and to actually sort of see the club do well and lift anything is sort of the videos or DVDs of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it must have been soul destroying for some of the younger fans to see somebody like, seeing somebody like Leicester City win a trophy last year. City. Leicester, I think, you look at what Leicester have achieved. Brendan Rodgers, I mean, he's done a terrific job. Now, if Arsenal were to get rid of Arteta, would it be a manager that Arsenal would look at, considering his record? I know he's won league titles in Scotland, but obviously Scottish League is a totally different kettle of fish to what he's been, to the Premier League. But he's won titles, he's proven it, and he's won the Cup and the Charity Shield with Leicester. I'd
absolutely love somebody like Brendan Rodgers. I think, as you say, though, he's won titles in the past. He's won FA Cups. He's won trophies. He'd get the best out of certain players, in my opinion, as well, which Mikel Arteta can't do. Or those players might be against Arteta. You don't know what the reasoning behind it is. But I think somebody like Brendan Rodgers, the fact he's British as well, brilliant. Yeah.
I just see Luke's got a question up there, hasn't he?
Yeah, go on. You can answer that, mate. Yeah.
What do I think to Dutch being at Forest last night? I don't read into it. Well, he's just signed a 4-year deal, so I don't think we need to read into that too much. But let me just give Luke a little history lesson. Sean Dyche was actually his first club as a player was under Brian Clough at Nottingham Forest. So there's a little bit of an attachment there as a player. But I seriously don't think he's going to take charge of Nottingham Forest. I think they'll probably look for somebody. They're going to go abroad. But I'd actually, I suggested in the chat earlier today Nigel Clough, because ex-Forest player, his father won 2 European Cups with them. Maybe having a Clough as the manager, maybe Brian Clough's son could be. Might get the fans on side a little bit, So,
I'm not too sure if Forest would want to go in that direction, though, for the one reason that if it starts to go wrong, then he's not only denting his own potential name, but he's denting the legacy that was left by his father as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that legacy has already been damaged over the last 20 years anyway. I mean, far worse managers than him. And then took them further down. One thing I will say is I actually thought Chris Hughton would have worked the oracle with them this next cup, the last couple of years, and I actually thought they were going to be outside contenders for the playoffs. They need to make the right decision. They need to make the right decision for us, because it's sad seeing clubs like Sheffield Wednesday, it's sad, Nottingham Forest, Birmingham City, and languishing in the Championship. I think Birmingham have had a good start. Yeah, they got beat last night, but I mean, I hosted their match with last week, and they were good. They won 1-0, and it was a fantastic performance. They're a good side, I think. I think they've got the right man for the job in Lee Bowyer, and that's one of the reasons why I've gone for Brum to potentially get in the playoffs and win them, because let's be fair, let's be honest. I mean, Midlands football's in rude health right now. You've got Leicester doing well, you've got Wolves doing decent. They have done the last 2 years. Villa, League Cup final, finished top 10. Yeah, they've done amazing, and so you look at that and you think, and if Birmingham could get back in the top flight, Midlands football preparing again. It's good to see Coventry back in the top 2 divisions. By the way,
they're doing well as well, and obviously, Aston Villa are starting to do well in the last few years. West Brom, they've had an up and down couple of seasons, but yeah, Wolves as well.
Absolutely. I think, I remember when Midlands football used to have about 5 or 6 clubs at any one time in the top flight. And, if West Brom, Birmingham, Coventry could all get back there, be fantastic for Midlands football, because I think, that is a football mad sort of part of the world. I've been lucky to have to, as a Burnley fan, to go to away matches at Villa a few years ago in a cup tie. And then when I was about 17, I went to Birmingham City to follow them. And now we lost on both occasions, but you could see the supporters of both those clubs, and they're passionate fans, especially Aston Villa.
Yeah, they are.
Absolutely. And Villa Park is one of the best grounds I've ever been to for atmosphere, and you just look at the ground. You look at Villa Park and you think, wow, this is it might be a ground that only holds 40,000, Mike, but you look at the stands and how big they are, and you think, now this is a football stadium, and it's. And I feel very lucky to have gone to those 2 grounds, and they've got atmosphere with them.
Yeah, definitely, mate. We won't keep you any longer, actually. I'm going to bring Russ on for a moment, but you can shoot off and, enjoy the game on Saturday. I know it's going to be, as we say, it's going to be a very close one.
Well, let me just finish on this point. Let the best man win.
Absolutely, mate, 100%. And I'm sure... as we said, it'll be a close game, but there'll be goals. So there'll be plenty to talk about.
Yeah, well, I'm going to sit on the fence and say probably a scoring draw, 1-1. I think. Well, I think we'll go for 1-1. I think, but whatever happens, there'll be no bitterness at the end. I promise you that.
No, we're good pals anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
We'll leave it there with you, and we'll bring Russ in a minute. But we might try and. Get a review maybe done at some point where we get maybe 1 or 2 others on.
Absolutely.
Early next week or whatever. But yeah, enjoy the game, and hopefully we don't beat you by too many.
All right, take care.
Cheers, mate. Bye. So we've got Russ here now as well. Russ is more of a neutral fan, but we were just talking Arsenal Burnley there. Have you heard much of the show so far?
Yeah, I've heard most of the show, Mike. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah.
Yes, I've heard most of the show. I've been listening to it since it started while I've had the football on tonight. And I just wanted to come on and just give my prediction for the game. And who should I upset more? Should I upset you or should I upset JB?
Well, we'll do that in a minute. But actually, Laura's been in, and I wanted to touch on this. I'll touch on this with you rather than JB, because JB had quite a lot to say on Arsenal anyway, but so I'll let you have this one. And she says she's not an Arsenal fan, but she thinks Arteta needs a helping hand from another manager, to come in as his number 2, like potentially something to happen at Stevenage with Alex Ravel and Dean Wilkins. I know it's a different kettle of fish, different league, etc. But do you think something like that would work?
it could work, Mike. Yes, it may work, and obviously he's got connections with Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, so
I don't
maybe
think he'll
after
come
that.
in. I don't think he'd say no to
I
staying
don't
at Man
think.
City and winning the trophy, mate. But
No, what I mean with that is what I mean is maybe afterwards, after that game, because I know you've picked up a little bit since that
yeah,
performance. I
slightly.
think
Yeah,
slightly. I think maybe he's had a word afterwards, how they normally do, going to the manager's office and have a drink with the two coaches after a game,
yeah.
and maybe
Uh
they've gone
huh.
in there, had a chat, gone over some tactics, Pep told him where it's gone wrong and how to tweak those situations, and maybe now you've seen those coming off. And I know you won last time out against Norwich. Good goal from what I saw of the highlights, and good performance from what I saw of the highlights. But before you scored, Norwich had chances, and take away that game for take away the goal from Arsenal for a moment. If
Yeah.
anyone turned that on and majority of the chances were from Norwich, everyone would be thinking Norwich finished was in
I
the Premier
don't.
League
I
last
don't
year,
agree with that. I
and
think
Arsenal may have
Arsenal have
been in the
plenty of chances,
Championship.
mate. To be
But I mean,
fair,
is the
I think.
where Arsenal defended,
Yeah.
it was like Arsenal have only just come up this season rather than Norwich, because I
No,
think
I
Norwich
wouldn't agree
defended a
with that.
bit
I think
better.
Arsenal had a fair share of chances as well. I think Norwich had a couple of chances, but I think largely, to be honest, we had the better of it. And to be fair, I think Norwich were lucky to only get away with a 1-0. I think it probably, if it was 2 or 3, they wouldn't have complained. Fair enough, they had chances. Ramsdale was good in goal. I just think that you can't really look at that game and say Arsenal were bad, because we weren't. We created a lot, and to be fair, until the goal, Norwich did well to keep us out, but
Yeah, what I'm
we
saying
did have
is,
we did
Mike.
have opportunities. Yeah,
Yeah, I know you had opportunity, but what I'm saying is, defensively, Norwich came behind you quite easily before when it was 0-0 and that. But you Arsenal struggled to get past. I know you had chances like crosses into box areas, but from open play, you didn't really cut up. In Norwich is what
right.
you would normally would a newly promoted side at,
Hmm.
at the Emirates, and I think that's probably and on
I
that
think, to be honest, there
looking
was
at
a lot
that,
of nerves. I think,
yeah, and
considering we hadn't won,
looking
yeah,
at that, I
yeah.
think you would have thought Norwich were in the Premier League last year and
Hmm.
Arsenal had just come up from the Championship. We Arsenal struggling to get past Norwich. But once you got that opening goal, they were quite easy to get through because Norwich pushed people forward and there were gaps in behind to play the ball through
That's
from,
what I'm going to say, because
from,
obviously there
from
was quite
pace
a lot
into
of nerves
midfield.
earlier on in the game, because obviously we hadn't scored a league goal. Obviously we were beat by Brentford, beat by Chelsea, beat by Man City convincingly as well. And yes, we beat West Brom. We convincingly beat them. Well, their kids, as I mentioned earlier, in the League Cup. But I think we were just waiting for that league win, and nobody really cared how it came, whether it was 1-0 off of someone's backside or 1-0 off the post and tapped in from a yard or 2 yards, ahead of the goal line or whatever, or whether it was a 35, 40 yarder. Like, Arsenal need to be winning games, and to be fair, it was one of those ones where you take it and you move on. Yeah,
Yeah, and with that win now, it's probably going to give the players a bit of confidence going into this Burnley game. And obviously, JB touched upon Burnley. I covered
yeah.
that game for the TC Hub and on Monday. And Burnley did well for the first 60 minutes or so. Then Everton got back into it. Once Everton equalised, Burnley just capitulated and fell apart. And I think
Yeah.
if Arsenal get an early goal, similar may happen. But if Burnley defend really, really well, like they did against Everton and they did for large parts
Hmm.
against Leeds before the international break, and I think Arsenal may struggle to break them down, especially at Turf Moor. They've got the fans by now, and there's like a 12-man there. We only scraped to draw late on from Patrick Bamford, but
Yeah.
my team leads. But I think looking at this one, if Arsenal can break through that Burnley defence quite easily and also keep it tight to the back, and especially with the midfield as well, make it like say 7 at the back at times. So if it's a 4-2-3-1, make it 7-3-1, and then have no holding midfielders at times when Burnley are attacking. So then the defensive duo drop back, so it's a bit harder for Burnley to get through. You may stand a chance of coming away with a clean sheet, but if you...
Mikel Arteta, to be honest, he plays random people, random formations, etc. So it wouldn't surprise me if he maybe even went 5 at the back for this one, or 3 at the back and the 2 wing backs. It's one of those ones where it's we should be able to get past Burnley. No disrespect to them, and as I said with JB, it will be very, very difficult, and it will be a very close game. But I could see maybe Mikel Arteta doing the 5, and I don't like that. I want to just go more attacking and just try and bomb forward and try and get as much attacking threat and attacking talent on to cause them problems as we can.
Yeah, maybe try and match up to Burnley. Because Burnley go 4-4-2, so maybe like what Leeds did against them, went 3 at the back, and then we went 3-3-1-3. Mm-hmm. Maybe Arsenal may try something like that, or may go 5-3-2. But I think what Arsenal should do is match up to Burnley, go 4-4-2, mark, and have a man-to-man marking system where they stick with the men all the way through. And Arsenal's wide men, whether you put out wide Mike, say whether it's Saka on one side, Pepe on the other, or whether you play out wide, or Pepe on one, Aubameyang on the other, say for example, and then have say Lacazette and Saka just playing just up front, and maybe him and Aubameyang keep switching. Maybe do that, but maybe have a plan where you've got one on each player, so the two women still on the full backs and keep them pen back when Arsenal's got the ball, so it gives Arsenal a bit more space for the full backs to push forward. But I think Arsenal may try, like you say, go with a back 5 or go with a back 3, go 3-4-3 maybe, or 3-3-1-3 or 3-3-3-1, and just have the lone striker in Lacazette.
Which Arsenal always do anyway, normally the one.
Which Arsenal normally do anyway, and then have the 3 behind, so Odegaard safe at each place, Odegaard in the 10, Pepe one side, Saka the other, or Saka and Aubameyang are wide, with Pepe coming on as an impact sub, and then that way you've got 3 behind the striker, 1 in defensive midfield, 1 further in front, which you'll see like say the Conga is he in one of the 3 of the defensive.
Well, I'll go through my team now. I'll go through my team in a minute that I want to see.
A bit further in front. And then have your 2 wing backs in Tomiyasu and Tierney. And then back 3 of White, Holding, and Gabriel maybe, and then
I don't see that. I see if there's a back 3
in goal. And then Ramsdale in goal, maybe.
Yeah, but I've got a sneaky feeling that if there's a back 3, Kolasinac will play.
Yeah, it could be. So it could be White, Gabriel, Kolasinac.
Yeah.
Or White, Holding, Kolasinac.
And I don't like that. I don't like the fact that...
with back 3. I don't
like the fact that there's even the talk about changing the formation on the back of keeping a clean sheet. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, and say if he decides to rest Gabriel for this game, Mike, and give him minutes in the club just to build his fitness up because he's not played that many minutes. So
he hasn't. He's been out and unavailable for the last 4 before this. Yeah.
Maybe he goes with. Maybe he leaves Gabriel out and goes with Holding, Kolasinac, and White as the 3 centre backs. Maybe, and see how that goes. And then if have Gabriel on the bench in case that back 3's not working, and then fetch Gabriel on, say in the 60th minute, to change things up at the back, to go a bit more attacking if he stays with that formation, or he may take his centre back off and throw another striker on to go with about 4-4 and go with a 4-2-3-1 towards the end, or another attacking midfielder.
I know exactly the team I want to see, and I'm going to run through it now quickly. Ramsdale in goal, Tomiyasu right back, Tierney left back, White and Gabriel midfield, White and Gabriel centre back, sorry. Then I'll move to the midfield. 2 midfield, I want the Conga and Thomas Partey. Then I want to see Pepe, Smith Rowe, and Saka, and I want to see Aubameyang up front.
That'd be a good lineup. And With Odegaard then, Mike, obviously you're not putting him in your side then.
Impact's off the bench. Yeah.
I was about to say, would you have him off benching? What
Yeah.
about Granit Xhaka? Would you have Xhaka off
He's
benching?
suspended still, isn't he?
I think if he was, maybe suspended still for this one, but
Yeah.
and then he may be back for midweek. So if Xhaka is available, would you have him on bench as an impact sub, or would you have Partey on bench if because
No, I want Partey to start. I think he will start. The fact he come on last time and last game against Norwich and played some minutes as well. I think this will be Thomas Partey and Lokonga in the two.
Yes. So then, Mike, obviously JB gave his prediction as a 1-1.
Yeah.
What are you going to say, mate? And then I'll give mine afterwards.
Okay, so I want to say hi to Giggsy as well, by the way. But for me, it's going to be a close game, as me and JB were saying. I think there's goals. I'm going to be optimistic. I think the Norwich game, we'll get some confidence from that now, and I think we can go on and we can beat Burnley on Saturday. And that's not me being arrogant or saying that in a disrespectful way. It's me saying that because I feel that the confidence from the Norwich game will be, would have happened and they would have had a good week's training behind that, etc. as well. So it's going to be close, but I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
Right, Mike, with mine, who do you want to upset more? More? Will it be you or will it be JB? Let's have a think here. So with Burnley, like I mentioned, Mike, it's going to be, like you and JB mentioned, it's going to be a close game. We all know
100%. Yeah.
It's going to be a close match. And if you look at Burnley at Turf Moor, yes, another thrown lead away against Brighton, lead away against Leeds there so far, and they may have had another one in there as well. I'll mention Giggs' prediction in a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to say sorry to JB. I think Arsenal will edge this, Mike. And I think it'll be 1-0 to the Arsenal, like the fans normally sing and like you were singing.
Same as last week.
As last week. And Giggs has gone for a 3-0 Arsenal win. So she'll be saying sorry, not sorry to JB as well.
She's saying it's not a close game, but then I think Burnley will score 100%. And I think that, I do think we'll nick it. I think 2-1 is probably going to be a fair score as well if it comes through.
Mike, if Burnley do score first, I think Arsenal players, a bit like the Man City game, may crumble and you may end up going on to lose.
But then JB said the opposite. He said if Burnley score first, then we'll have more of a chance because they seem to be throwing away leads.
Yeah, they could be throwing away leads, but maybe if they get, say, go 1-0 up earlier after, like, say, 2 minutes, then get another, say, 5 minutes later, so 2-0 after 7, that's when I think you may struggle. But if it's 1-0 for a large period of the game, you may get into it and may win.
I think Burnley will go 1-0 up as well, by the way, and then I think Arsenal will come back and win it.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I think Arsenal will score early and hold on to it for the rest of the game, Mike. I'm not going to say who I think's going to score.
Yeah.
But I think Arsenal will score early and get on with a win. On to the win. Very, very. I think it'll be a very early goal from the Gunners this weekend. So I'm going to say 1-0 to the Arsenal.
So you think Aaron Ramsdale, if he's in goal, will get a clean sheet and shut them out, same as what Giggsy's put there, yeah?
Yeah, I think he'll keep him. I think, obviously, when that signing was made, I messaged you with just joking around and saying, Ramsdale joined Chesterfield.
Yeah, got relegated 3 times.
Got relegated.
Yeah.
Ramsdale joined Bournemouth. Got relegated.
Yeah.
Ramsdale joined Sheffield United. Got relegated. And I know I said jokingly to you, Mike, Ramsdale joined Arsenal. Relegated. But obviously, Mike, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Arsenal will have a good season. I know it's early days yet, and I know down at the wrong end of the table, like Leeds and like Burnley. I think Leeds and Arsenal will get out of it. Burnley, I'm not so sure.
I agree as well. I think Burnley are in for a long season. I do think they'll struggle this year.
After watching them on Monday, covering them on Monday for the commentary hub, and also watching them against Leeds, I think they'll be struggling. Yes, the 2 leads against Leeds, but then the just try to defend that lead and sit back on the lead. So also may do something like that if it's only 1-0 to Burnley early on, but I don't think it will. But if it's 2-0, if Burnley get a 2-goal lead, Mike, I think if they get a 2-goal lead early on, you may struggle because that's when they'll probably
that's what I think as well.
But
if Burnley do go on, they get a couple of goals rather than just one. Say, I said they get the first goal and then they throw it away, and Arsenal go and win 2-1. If Burnley got a second, I think that's probably as good as game done, however early it is. Like Arsenal will come out and they'll try, but I think Burnley then have got something to hold on to. Yeah.
Yes, so I think it'll be 1-0 to the Arsenal like it was against Norwich. So me and Giggs, me and you both have got that clean sheet mentality on our mind for the Gunners.
I'd love to, but I'd love it. I'd love it to be a clean sheet and a 3-0, 4-0 scoreline, but I just don't see it. I think it's going to be a very close game, and I think that, in recent years, Burnley have caused us problems, and I think that will continue, and I do think they'll score, and fingers crossed we go on and win. Yeah.
Yes, let's all just come on, Matt, just give me your thoughts on the prediction, and so I'm going to head off now, so I'll let you finish off doing that, and I'll speak to you again soon, mate, yeah?
That's fine, mate. Just before you run away, I know your boys Leeds are playing Newcastle tomorrow because I'm covering it for the commentary hub. Just a quick overall prediction for that game as well. Just do you reckon Leeds will get one over on Newcastle, or do you reckon it'll be a draw, or do you reckon Newcastle win, or what do you reckon?
Hopefully we can get something from that, Mike. Obviously, at the moment we've down to one senior centre back, Pascal Struijk, suspended for that when he got sent off against Liverpool. Written verdict came in today from the FA. It was a 2-1 who said it should have been there was serious foul play. The other one, like majority of the media said,
and Harvey Elliott himself,
and Harvey Elliott said himself it wasn't a red card, wasn't even a foul, and it was a freak accident which happens in football. So they'll give it 2-1. So he'll miss this game on Friday. He'll miss the game against Fulham in the Cup next Tuesday. And then he'll miss against West Ham United. And we're only down to one senior for centre back in Liam Cooper, the club captain.
Yeah, when I was doing my notes, I noticed that Robin Koch and
Diego Llorente both out.
Llorente are both out and unavailable. Yeah.
Robin Koch, Mike, has got a groin injury.
Right.
But Bielsa, when he was asked about him a few weeks ago why he weren't involved, he went, he's got an injury in his pubis.
I like that.
And then Llorente went off with a muscular injury against Liverpool last Sunday. So we could see either a young 19-year-old Charlie Creswell, son of Richard, who could be a Leeds player at centre-back, or we could see Luke Haley move across into centre-back with Jamie Shackleton come in. I'd like to see Mateo Shackleton come in, Shackleton come in anyway, whether Creswell starts or Haley moves in the centre-back, because for me, Haley has not been at the races yet this season, very, very slow compared to last year. Also, I'd like to see...
He had a good season last season, didn't he?
He had a good season last year.
Arsenal youth as well, isn't he, Luke Haley?
Yeah. I'd also like to see Matthias Klick come into the midfield in place of Rodrigo, because he's not a midfielder. Rodrigo is a striker.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get the win, though. I know I said on the group chat that we're in for the commentary job, might as well give Burnley 3 points now. Yesterday when he got the red card was rejected.
Yeah.
But I think we'll get the win. And I think we'll keep a clean sheet. I'm going to say 2-0 Leeds.
Fair enough. All right, mate. Of course, we're going to end this in a minute, but if you want to follow JB's channel, you can at JB Sports on YouTube. Is where you can get that. And then there's the Commentary Hub on YouTube as well, which I'm a part of, and the Commentary Hub too. Also, my own channel, the Storm FM channel as well. stormfm.org.uk is the website if you want to look at the website as well. And then, of course, there's also JDAC Football as well if you want to look at that one. So you've been listening to Worldwide Gooner Elite. We've had Burnley fan at JB on. Russ come on at the end there just to give a little brief opinion there regarding Arsenal and Burnley, and also his thoughts on Newcastle against his side Leeds as well. But thank you for listening, everyone, and up the Gunners. Let's hope it's a positive result and we can continue a little bit of momentum from the victory over Norwich on Saturday last week. But thank you for listening. Have a good weekend, and let's hope it's 3 points. Cheers.